Albert, can you also enable the interpretation, please?
Yes, I'll do that right now.
Thank you. Good afternoon. This meeting will be recorded. If you do not want to be on screen, please turn off your video now. We're offering live interpretation and ASL during this meeting. If you wish to hear Spanish interpretation, please click the interpretation button at the bottom of your right Zoom screen. You'll see a globe icon. If you're joining via the Zoom smartphone app, select your language by clicking More on the three dots in the bottom right corner of your screen. Select language interpretation, then choose Spanish, and then click Done. If you wish to hear only the interpreters and do not the original speakers, be sure to click Mute Original Audio. Esta reunión está siendo grabada. Si no quiere salir en pantalla, apague su video ahora. Estamos ofreciendo interpretación en español y en lenguaje de señas americano. Si desea escuchar la interpretación en español, haga clic en el botón de interpretación en la parte inferior derecha de la pantalla de Zoom. Verá un icono de globo terráqueo. Si nos acompaña a través de la aplicación Zoom para smartphone, seleccione su idioma haciendo clic en donde dice More o en los tres puntos en la esquina inferior derecha de la pantalla. Seleccione Language Interpretation, interpretación del idioma, luego elija Spanish o español y haga clic en Done. Si desea escuchar solo a los intérpretes y no a los oradores originales, asegúrese de hacer clic en Mute Original Audio, silenciar el audio original. Thank you. We're ready to start. Thank you, Peggy.
Thank you, Mariana. Thanks a lot. Everyone, thanks for coming to Evening with the Administration via Friends, your PTO. I really welcome all the new parents, especially here. Thank you for choosing Albert Einstein Academy. And I thank our Mrs. Greta Bowders and our Andreas Trackers and Dr. Sharetta for being here. Thank you, guys. We can start immediately. I don't want to waste too much time. So I would ask Dr. Sharetta to start with his first points.
Yes, thank you, Peggy. Thank you to Friends for supporting the event this evening, and to all the folks who are tuning in to watch, and to the staff who've taken their time this evening as well. We're going to go over some points. Hopefully, some of them are proactive and can answer in advance some questions that folks may have, and then there will be an opportunity at the tail end to follow up with some questions. If I could see the next slide, please. So I wanted to start out on a very positive, happy note, especially to welcome everyone to the 21-22 academic year. Last night, the San Diego Unified School Board, by unanimous vote, approved the allocation of $80 million, just a little bit over $80 million for the acquisition and renovation of an AEA high school facility. If you have been with Einstein for any amount of time, you'll know that the high school has always been an ongoing dream. Those folks who've been with Einstein longer than I have, some of whom are on this call, will remember at the very genesis of Einstein, folks were already talking about a K-12 continuum for IB. And so last night, while it comes in the midst of a pandemic and discussions about vaccine mandates and many, many other things that are swirling out around in the world, it is perhaps the second most important vote that's ever been taken in the history of AEA, second only to the first votes that authorized our charters to exist. So what this does is it It allows the school district to purchase a building on our behalf and then with our collaboration renovate it so that by fall 2024, at least that's the goal now, we can begin to populate that school with our first 9th grade for the AEA high school. I want to make really clear that these are Proposition Z and Measure YY funds. They're voter approved bonds from the last 2 election cycles. These are monies that Einstein does not pay back. So we have, in essence, we'll be occupying that building under the same condition that Principal Bowders and the elementary school occupy the Ash Street campus. The only difference is we get to participate in the design and the renovation of that from the ground up, or almost from the ground up. The building will most likely be gutted before it's built out into a high school. So that's very, very exciting. Our dream, we'll put it there, we'll leave it there for now. Our dream is to use these funds for the building that's adjacent to the middle school. The reason I say the dream, and it's not yet completely etched in stone, is because the real estate negotiation is something that the school district's real estate department handles, because it, again, is going to be in their name. So as soon as that gets finalized, we will have another announcement for the community, but I'm very confident this will happen. So I just wanted to start out with that to kick off this evening's call. We have a section on our website dedicated to the AEA High School, and we'll continue to populate that with more information as we move forward in this process. Please understand that this is not a fast process. It's typical for the acquisition and the initial design cycle to take 12 to 18 months. So from the outside, you might be looking at a building and going, there's nothing going on. There's nothing going on. It's because when you design and renovate school buildings, you have to work with a whole different set of architectural requirements because it's a school and it houses students. And so we have to work with the state architect in Sacramento, and it's complicated and time consuming and a bit slow, but we will continue to keep you updated on that. So I want to start out on that very positive note. And then thank you to all of the families and the staff who submitted comments of support when we sent out the survey about 6 weeks ago. That really helped this grease the skids with the school board. So that's great. We're going to transition into some health update pieces. And I wanted to take the first part of this, and then I believe our operations manager, Kathy Montez, will take some, and the principals as well. The first is, in that same board meeting last night that took place at San Diego Unified, you may have noticed, and if you didn't watch the board meeting, you no doubt got it in your news feed, or you saw it on the news, or someone pinged you on Facebook, or however you get your information, that the San Diego Unified Board voted to mandate COVID vaccines for all of their staff, all of the contractors who ever set foot on campuses, and all students age 16 or over, with the caveat that they'll continue to monitor the status of vaccine approval for students under 16 going forward, because obviously that hasn't yet been approved. They have a date. I'm going to mess up the date, but I want to say it's November 1st when this will completely take effect. And I wanted to make some clarifying comments. First of all, this does not apply to AEA. We are our own LEA, our own local education agency. We have our own governing board. So it certainly will have, it casts a shadow or a light, however you want to look at it, on how we operate, but we make decisions independent of the San Diego Unified School Board. They are authorizers, but they don't run our organization. The second piece is that we are planning to have this on the agenda for the upcoming AEA board meeting for a discussion piece. And so you'll see us messaging out about that as that meeting comes closer. That would ultimately be a decision of our board with data from staff as to how they want to proceed on that. Whether they decide to follow suit with San Diego Unified or stay status quo for the time being. I can't make a prediction on that piece. We continue to try to unpack what that mandate means for the district schools. And many of you on here may also have students in district schools. And so if you have a 16-year-old or older, then they're going to fall under this. I don't know the details yet on what exemptions they have, et cetera. So we're going to take a methodical approach to this, but please know that we are monitoring it very, very closely. And so we are definitely in the know and watching that as we go forward. As you'll see from Ms. Montez's presentation, we've thankfully had very low rates of COVID reported and verified on both of our campuses. We believe that the measures that we have in place are effective and that they're working. And so I will continue to monitor that. So without further ado, I will pass this to Kathy Montez for the follow-up pieces on here.
Thank you, Dr. Sharetta. Good evening, AEA community. I'm just going to cover a few items. Dr. Sharetta talked about the vaccine mandates with San Diego Unified. As you can see here on the slide presentation, we're showing our staff members and the vaccinated percentage of our staff members. Those that are, the very few that are unvaccinated do have mandated weekly testing, which is mandated by the California Department of Public Health. And Brad, can you click on those COVID case numbers? We can review those very quickly. We are now entering our 6th week of school. So our COVID rates, our numbers are looking very good. Thanks, Brad, so much. Total cases, right now, we have had 10 student cases on the elementary campus and 4 student cases on the middle school campus, and only 1 staff positive case on the middle school campus. So a total of 15 cases in the full 6 weeks, almost. We're ending the 6th week on Friday. And that's just over 1% of our population, or just right around 1% of the population. So trending very well. We do not at this point in time have any transmission, case-to-case transmissions on campus, meaning students in the same classroom, students in the same grade and so forth. We don't have any contact tracing that we've performed. We don't have any student-to-student transmissions. This webpage that you're looking at right now, this is updated daily. So it is on our website. You can click on that every day, and that does get updated daily towards the middle end of the day. If you scroll up a little bit, sorry, Brad, to the bottom of the page, there you go. There is information also on this page on optional COVID testing for students and staff. That's every Wednesday on each campus from 1 to 3 p.m. If you click on this link, it'll take you to the information for the consent form. It's all electronic, great system, and it will go ahead and text the results of your student directly to you, to your cell phone. So if you are wanting your student to be tested once a week, that is offered on both of our campuses from 1 to 3 p.m. on Wednesdays again. And then a little bit further down the page, we always keep a current, updated San Diego County Office of Education and San Diego Health and Human Services put together a decision tree that all schools must follow when they have cases on campus or symptomatic students, close contacts, when we're involved in quarantine situations for students that have been close contacts, and staff members as well. So this is updated as soon as we get the updates from the county. Lately, it's been trending and updating about every 2 weeks. So just keep an eye on that. That's a great resource for family members. Thanks, Brad. And the next item I think we had for, can you pull, thanks, Brad, is our travel guidelines. That's our next item that we're covering a little bit further down the page. This is our what to expect for the 2021-22 school year. This was sent out to all families, and it is also on our website as well. Travel guidelines as we're getting closer to the holiday season. Since our numbers have been very good on campus right now, we are not going to shift off the travel guidelines that we have in place right now, which is what is recommended by the California Department of Public Health. and the CDC as well. So you can read these on our website, but any unvaccinated staff and students who do travel outside of California should get tested with a viral test, and that viral test can be PCR or antigen. And that antigen test we can perform on campus for your student as well, 3 to 5 days after returning from your travels. So if you're having a hard time locating a spot to get a test performed for your student, we'd be happy to go ahead and test them on campus prior to them, arrive. Well, when they come on campus for the test, we'll wait 15 minutes to get the results. And then if it's all clear, they can go ahead and enter for classes and so forth after travel. A little bit different for vaccinated staff and students. So the guidelines loosen up a little bit for vaccinated staff and students. As we get closer to the holiday season, after our 1 week break for the fall, we may revisit these guidelines depending on how our numbers are trending. Right now, they've been trending really well. And so all of these safety mitigation measures will be kept in place for right now, but we may revisit these again after the Thanksgiving break or possibly before Christmas break as well. Thanks, Fred. The only other item further down on the page we have is our personnel. So this is visitors on campus. We are still limiting visitors on campus to only essential visitors, which is vendors and performing essential duties on campus. That could be our service providers for students, and then also vendors for repairs and so forth. Right now, non-essential visitors or volunteers are not allowed on campus at this time. This is another item we're hoping to revisit again right after the Thanksgiving break and before the Christmas break. So stay tuned on that. And hopefully I didn't leave anything out. Dr. Schroeder, you can remind me if I did, if there's anything that was missed.
I think that's pretty comprehensive. Thank you. At this time, we're going to move to the respective principals, and they have some reminders about traffic and behavior with cars.
Well, all right. Well, first of all, welcome families. Thank you for joining us this evening. I just want to also express that I'm just grateful for all of you, especially some of our new families or younger families who are new with us, who are trusting us with your students when you have not been able to be on campus or see the campus or see the classrooms. And I hope that your teachers are making you feel welcome as much as they can through the means that they can. And I do hope that you all participate. We have our back to school night tomorrow night. Teachers are going to be pushing out slideshows prior, and then you'll have the opportunity to ask them questions in a live session. So please join for back to school night tomorrow evening. I also want to thank all of you who have been following our endless messaging on traffic. I think those of you who have been here for a while who are kind of wondering why this year it's been so much more complicated. Obviously, parents are not allowed on campus, but also we have fewer after school programs than we've ever had in the past, or before school programs. So our running club right now, we're not running. So we've really had to accommodate the fact that we have nearly 800 parents who are either dropping off or picking up each day in the neighborhood. So we've had to come down a lot harder on some of the routines. And there's some people who are asking, well, we did this in years past. Well, we've had to really go and just kind of look at those procedures and hone them. So we're getting them super solid. We have had a police presence that just started today, and they're planning to come a little more frequently to support just the neighborhood. We have more kids who are walking than ever before, so they'll be in the neighborhood, but they're also watching the traffic flow for us as well. And some of the ones that we're working on is the double parking, which happens on A Street quite often, the parking in the red zone, parking in handicap spots when you don't have a handicap placard, cutting into our cones, making some U-turns. And then a big one was parking in the 3-minute zone. And that one I wanted to mention, especially, it'll be in our Friday message. A lot of our parents have gotten in the habit down A Street to just park, even though Our cones aren't lined up there currently. That's still a 3-minute zone for unloading only. And people have gotten the habit of, if there's a spot, parking there and walking their students up. Talking with the police today who are on motorcycles, they say they don't give any warnings. And so I want to just message the community that if you are doing something that is not legal on the streets, whether that's speeding, rolling through stop signs, those police officers on the motorcycles are there and they don't give a warning. So that will be a ticket. This morning, I think we had 4 or 5, and then they were there this afternoon too. So that's my warning. Take your time. It is not a race. We have all hands out on deck out there in the mornings and afternoons, getting your kids there safely. And so I just be gracious and patient. And I know some of you are running, and thank you. You have your signs with your kids' names on it, and we're calling as quickly as we can, but our kids, our concern, our number one priority is getting your kids safely to you. And so we ask that you're patient with us. It is a longer process than it has been in years past. So thank you. Other than that, we are just finishing, as we said, week 6. Our routines and procedures are well established. Our students are going to all of their specials, and believe it or not, we're almost into our 2nd unit of inquiry in most grades. So the IB transdisciplinary curriculum, hopefully your students are talking about what they're learning. If they are not, they are about to start a new unit, a lot of them. So please look for your teacher's information about the 2nd unit of inquiry and ask what they are doing, because they're doing it. It's cross transdisciplinary, meaning that you'll see it through their art projects. You'll see some of their learning experience through outdoor ed or through science. And so we are happy to be able to feel like we are whole again in our IB program, which has always been a pillar for. And it's much easier to do in person now than it was the last year when we were hybrid. So we are grateful for that.
Good evening, everyone. I can't believe that we're already 6 weeks in. And thankfully, we're continuing to ride a wave of positivity and enthusiasm with our kids and with our teachers. And I can't tell you how excited I am to be able to see just yesterday, 4:30, 4:45, and we had over 100 kids playing either volleyball or basketball out on our courts, having fun, being safe. But it's amazing to be able to feel that back in our buildings and our classrooms again. Today, being able to experience, we had about 60 kids that were involved in after school music. Things have been great. Our commitment with our staff is to take things one day at a time, give it our very, very best each and every day for our kids and for our families, and to continue to stay positive and productive the best we can. And that's our commitment for this year. Give it our best, be positive and productive. Support one another. We're going through some very, very difficult times, and I just want to be able to ask, in that spirit, our parents and Principal Bowders touched on a little bit about pick up and drop off to be the 3 P's: patient, positive, and productive. The front of the school I had shared in a video. Sometimes it's starting to look like the Daytona 500 or a pit stop, and people bobbing and weaving in and out, and folks encouraging their kids to jaywalk across the street, or kids getting dropped off in the middle of the street. It's okay. We can be patient, just a couple extra minutes, or maybe an extra 5 minutes. But if that's what it's going to take to ensure the health and safety of our kids, each and every day, there's probably 7, 8 staff members in the front of the school, another 2 in the back. Let's just be a little extra patient. Let's continue to move forward. Let's pay attention to our staff who's there to help and direct and support. And like I always say to lots of our parents, hey, the rear of the middle school is one of the best places, safest places, most organized places where you can drop off your son or daughter. It might take another extra 30 seconds, but please utilize it. The health, safety, and well-being is our #1 priority each and every day. And we want to partner with our parents in that and make sure that we can make our drop-offs and pickup safe for all of us. So thank you all. Moving ahead, we have some planning in the upcoming weeks. We'd like to be able to provide an informational evening for our 8th grade families. It was done in person. It was a high school night where we partnered with all our various high school partners would come and have a table and give presentations. Well, we're going to try to do that virtually. Ms. Solorio is going to be sending out some information to our families for their next big step after 8th grade and choosing and selecting the best fit for their son or daughter, the best high school fit for them. And that information will be coming out. Again, I want to thank everybody for their flexibility, for their support. Many of the very, very nice emails that had been sent. And we're going to continue to be positive and productive one day at a time and give it our very, very best each and every day. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, guys. I hope you guys had a lot of to say. And are we finished for today? Do you guys want to add something? Dr. Shareda, do you want to add something?
Yes, thank you, Peggy, and thank you to the principals. I just had one additional piece, and this is something that spans both the campuses. While our enrollment is very strong on both of our campuses, and thank you to the community for helping us fill a couple spots that we had still open. Our attendance rate across both of our campuses needs some work. And there are 2 reasons for that, one way more important than the other. The most important reason that we need attendance is because kids need to be learning. And so I fully understand, as do the principals, that we've come out of, actually COVID has really impacted 3 academic years if you think about it. So I kind of call it the COVID hangover, that there's this kind of, it kind of dulls the urgency in some cases for folks to go to school or to be in close contact and communication with the school. But we need kids either in person, or if you are availing yourselves of the independent study piece, and that has been messaged extensively, that be activated, or in certain cases when there are symptomatic situations with students that they're out, but then they come right back under certain conditions. What we're finding is our attendance rate is several percentage points below where it normally would be in a normal year. So number one reason that's important is obviously the educational piece. And then there's the second reason, not nearly as important, but it is important, is that's how we receive our funding. And so when a student is not there on campus and they're not engaged through the independent study piece, or in some limited cases, those shorter term contracts, we don't receive funding for that student. And so we do all of our projections a year in advance, and our projections are based on a 97% attendance rate. And typically we're usually somewhere in the 98% range. To give you a frame of reference, we're trending right around 93. And so it might not seem like a lot, but when you think of an organization with a collective budget of about $16 million, those percentage points amount to hundreds of thousands of dollars. So please, I'm just asking that we make a collective effort, and it's obviously not an easy time, but kids do need to be in school, either in person or engaged in those mechanisms that I talked about. So I just wanted to make that reminder. Thank you, Peggy.
Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for being here. And I have a few notifications for you guys. For the parents, we are running the online pretzel sale now, and Brett just sent out a reminder email to you all. Please go and click and order for that. Every cent of that goes back to school. Thank you so much for being here. Especially the administrator here, Andreas Starkers, David Schroeder, and Mrs. Greta Bowders. Thank you so much. Thank you also for the tech and Kathy and everyone else. Thank you so much. And I think we are next month, Vida, on it. We will let you know. Please keep watching our emails and follow us. Thank you so much, guys. See you soon. Bye.